Do you ever pause to ponder what's really going on with credit card interest? It's more than just a percentage tacked onto your balance. This complex beast can really impact your financial well-being. It's the driving force behind the debt cycle that traps so many, but still, a lot of folks don't quite get how it works. In today's video, we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of credit card interest. You'll get to grips with things like APR and the impact of compound interest. Ready to get a better handle on how this stuff hits your wallet? Let's unpack it step by step. There's a lot of confusion out there about how credit card interest works, it seems. A source points out that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has found many people don't really get how interest is compounded or applied to different kinds of transactions. Plus, the Federal Reserve studies show that average credit card APRs vary a lot, and this affects how much interest people end up paying. Financial experts are really pushing for folks to understand APR and how it's calculated to help avoid piling up debt they don't need. All this just goes to show how important it is for people to learn about credit card interest. It's key to making smarter money moves and handling debt better. First, let's talk about APR, the annual percentage rate. Did you know that the interest on your credit card isn't just a simple percentage added to what you owe? It's more complex than that. Sometimes it's a fixed rate, other times it can change depending on the market index. It's super important to get what the APR on your card is all about, especially if you're going to have a balance on it. This rate gets used to figure out the finance charges that show up on your bill. Let's look at an example. Let's say you've got this credit card and you've been carrying a balance of $1,000 on it for a while. Now, your credit card company charges an annual percentage rate, APR, of 18%. What does that mean for you? Well, it means that every year they'll charge you 18% of whatever amount you still owe. But let's break that down to a monthly level, because that's how credit card interest is usually calculated. So you take that 18% APR and divide it by 12, since there are 12 months in a year. That gives you 1.5% interest per month. Now let's do the math. You owe $1,000 on your card, and the interest rate for the month is 1.5%. Multiply those together, and you get $15. That means, for this month, you'll be charged $15 in interest on top of whatever you already owe. And that's the deal with APR on credit cards. It's the cost of borrowing money on your card, and it can add up pretty quickly if you're not careful. So it's always a good idea to try to pay off your balance as soon as you can to avoid paying too much in interest. Here's where it gets trickier. Compound interest. Did you know that if you don't pay off your credit card balance, it can balloon really fast because of compound interest? Here's the thing. Compound interest isn't just calculated on what you originally owed. It also includes the interest that's already piled up from before. So basically, you end up paying interest on your interest. Credit cards usually do this every day, which can make the total amount you owe shoot up quickly. The smart move? Try to pay your balance in full every month. That way, you dodge this whole compounding thing and keep your debt under control. Let's continue with the same example, where you have a credit card balance of $1,000 with an APR of 18%. Now, let's say you only make the minimum payment required, which is $25. After making the $25 minimum payment, you're left with a balance of $975. Now, let's calculate the interest for the next month. We'll use the compound interest formula. A is the future value of the investment or loan, including interest. P is the principal amount, or the initial balance. R is the annual interest rate. N is the number of times interest is compounded per year. T is the time the money is invested or borrowed for, in years. After that payment, you're left with $975 on your balance. Now, here comes the tricky part. The interest keeps on accruing. With an APR of 18%, that interest adds up fast. So, next month rolls around and you've got interest on that $975. It's compounded monthly, so it's not just a simple calculation. We're talking about compound interest here, which means you're not just paying interest on your initial balance, but also on the interest that's already accrued. After doing the math, you find that your balance has grown to about $989.63. And remember, you're still just making the minimum payment, which is $25. Now, the minimum payment is usually calculated as a percentage of your balance. Let's say it's 2.5%. So your minimum payment for the next month is $24.74, which is 2.5% of $989.63. But let's assume you still pay the fixed minimum of $25. After that payment, you're left with $964.63 on your balance, and the cycle continues. Interest keeps piling up, and if you're only making the minimum payment, it could take you a long time to pay off that debt. That's the danger of only making minimum payments on your credit card. It might seem manageable in the short term, but in the long run, you end up paying a lot more in interest, and it takes much longer to clear that debt. Let's not forget about grace periods. This is the golden time when no interest is charged on new purchases, but only if you've cleared your previous month's balance. Missed that? Grace periods play a key role when it comes to credit card interest. They're basically this gap between the end of your billing cycle and when your payment is due. During this time, you won't be charged any interest on new purchases, but that's only if you've cleared your last month's balance completely. It's important to remember, though, that not everything falls under grace periods. Take cash advances, for instance. They start gathering interest right away. Getting to know the grace period of your card is pretty handy. It lets you dodge extra interest charges by making sure you pay your full balance by the due date. But here's the catch. If you're someone who often has an ongoing balance, you'll miss out on the grace period perk. This means you'll start racking up interest on new purchases immediately. So, how can you avoid falling into the high-interest credit card debt trap? Handling credit cards wisely is super important to steer clear of debt with steep interest rates. Make it a habit to clear your balance every month so you don't get hit with interest fees and reduce the chances of getting into debt. Always keep an eye on how much you're spending to prevent building up a balance that's tough to pay back. If clearing the whole balance isn't possible, think about moving it to a card with lower interest or consolidating the debt. It's a good idea to frequently check your credit card statements and take charge of your debt, helping you stay on top of your finances. Got high-interest credit card debt? There are smart ways to tackle it. Try paying more than the minimum each month. It really cuts down the balance and interest. Focus on clearing the cards with the highest interest rates first. Consider transferring the balance to a card with a lower rate. Also, a good budget can help cut down on extra spending, freeing up cash to chip away at that debt. Regularly checking and tweaking how you're paying it off is key to getting your credit card debt under control. Wrapping this up, the world of credit card interest can be quite a maze, but understanding it is crucial for smart financial management. From getting your head around APR and compound interest to the importance of grace periods, it's all about making informed choices. Avoiding the minimum payment trap, keeping an eye on your credit score, and sticking to a solid budget are key strategies to keep you on top of your game. It's not just about dodging hefty interest charges, it's about empowering yourself financially. Remember, every smart decision you make with your credit cards can lead to a healthier financial life. So, stay informed, stay proactive, and let's make those credit cards work for us, not against us. If you found this helpful, give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more financial insights. Have any questions or experiences with credit card interest? Drop them in the comments below. Until next time, stay savvy with your finances. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.